in your spirit. Sometimes you can't see what God has already declared over your life. Put your hands together right now. Everything. You're going through a rough time, but I want you to understand that you push all that negative stuff behind you. That's it. Say, Lord, show me. You got to see it for yourself. I wish I had a witness. Take it up. And show me. I want to hear something go. I want to feel you. Come on, somebody. When I can see better, I can do better.
Shining as the light of higher. Open the eyes of my heart. I wanna see just like you. Said I wanna see you. Hey, said I wanna see you. One more time. Said open the eyes of my heart. Open the eyes of my heart. I wanna see you in all your splendor, in all your wonder. Shining in the light of your glory. Pour out your power. As we sing holy. Come on. High and lifted up. There's no God greater than you. Hey. Pour out your power and love. As we sing holy. Hey. See how you higher than you. Shining in the light of. Pour out your power. As we sing holy. Sit high and lifted up. You're the great one, yes you are. Pour out your power. As we sing holy. Open the eyes of my heart. Said I wanna see you. Said I wanna see. Come on, let's talk. Said open the eyes of. My heart. Yeah, open the eyes of my heart. Said I wanna see you. Said I wanna see you. I wanna see you. Amen. Let praises rise from the inside of me. May you delight from the inside of me. Come fill my life on the inside of me. Set me on fire from the inside of me. 'Cause all I want is for you to be glorified, you to be lifted high. All I want is for you to be glorified, you to be lifted high. Come on, you sing that. Let praises rise from the inside. Do it from the inside. May you delight. Do it from the inside. From the inside of me. Come feel my life. Do it from the inside. Only you can do it. Only you can fix it. Come set me on fire. Yeah, from the inside. Oh, from the inside. Let's do that again from the top. Let praises rise from the inside. From the inside of me. May you delight. Oh, from the inside. Oh, from the inside of me. Come fill my life. Only you can fix it. Only you can do it. Oh, set me on fire. That's our desire this morning. Said all I want, it's for you. You get the glory. All I want, it's for you. You get the glory. Fill my life till all they see is you, Lord. Glorify your name. Fill my life till all they see it's you, Lord. Come on, can we declare that in here? Say, fill my life till all they see is you. I wanna praise you. Hey, said all I want. Nobody else can do it for me. You get the glory. All I want for you. You.
Greetings, family. It's Doc, and I'm back with another medical moment. For today's topic, this is part 2 of Just How Long is the Long Haul? Let's get started talking about our children and COVID long haulers. Remember, when it comes to our children, don't be silent. First off, seek care from your child's pediatrician. But second, and probably even more importantly, is to go to the child's administrator. Let them know what's going on with your child, that you've been observing that there may be some cognitive issues related to COVID. And because we are hopeful that these will subside at some point in time, just ask for temporary help. Things like extended test taking time, maybe rest breaks during the school day, and maybe just modified classroom work for your child, whatever it takes to get them over this hump when it comes to the learning aspect. Another special consideration for children is that of the heart inflammation that's associated with COVID. Now, for some reason, this seems to affect children more than it does adults. So what we are seeing now is children that were otherwise healthy that are having complications that had COVID months ago, even a year ago. So I urge you, particularly if you have a student athlete or a very active child, if that child has had COVID, if they're going to go back to strenuous activities and sports, whatever that may be, I encourage you to ask your pediatrician to be referred to a pediatric cardiologist. Let them have a full evaluation by a cardiologist to be cleared to go back to that high level of activity. All right, let's talk about the grown folks here. So one of the most prominent symptoms that I've heard and studies concur is that of shortness of breath. That was one of the hallmarks of the COVID virus in and of itself, and is certainly a prominent symptom when it comes to long haul. But I have a few things that you can do about it. I want to show you a couple of breathing exercises that may help speed up your recovery. What we're seeing right now is that the lung recovery from COVID can be somewhere between 4 and 6 months, even for mild to moderate cases, and much longer for those who required hospitalization and mechanical ventilation and things of the such. But for you that were treated at home, let me share with you a couple of exercises. This first exercise is done in 4 positions. Now, the recommendation is that you start doing it lying on your back. You do it for 1 minute, then you sit up and do it for 1 minute, then you lie on your stomach and do it for 1 minute, and then you stand and do it for 1 minute. The exercise is the same, so I'm going to demonstrate it for you in a seated position. What you'll do is sit on the edge of your bed or a chair. You'll put your hands on your stomach. You'll then put your tongue to the roof of your mouth, and the next step is to breathe in through your nose with a maximum inhale. Ready? Do it with me. Hands on your belly, tongue to the roof of your mouth, and didn't that feel good? Now repeat that for 1 minute. Now remember your positions. Start with lying on your back, then sitting on the edge of your bed, then lying on your stomach, and then standing. One other really good lung exercise, and these are simple, you can do them at home, you don't need any specific training, is called the yawn to smile. Again, I'll demonstrate it for you. You'll sit on the edge of your chair, couch, bed, and what you want to do is to throw your hands up and act like you're yawning. And then at the end, smile for 3 seconds. These 2 exercises are phenomenal, you guys. Even if you don't have like COVID-related lung issues, if you have any lung or heart issues, these exercises help increase your diaphragmatic strength, and that helps increase your lung capacity, and you'll find it easier to breathe if you continue to do these exercises. Now, as an adult or a child, if you're suffering from the extreme fatigue that's associated with COVID long haulers, my suggestion to you is to request from your provider a referral for physical therapy. It might seem lame, but physical therapy is a great tool to get you back in motion. You don't have to have a particular injury. You'd be amazed at what physical therapists can do to strengthen you once they find out what body parts are the weakest and can help you overcome some of the fatigue that's associated with COVID-19 long haulers. All right, family, just wanted to bring you a little update on COVID long haulers. I want you to be in the know. I want you to know that if you have COVID long haulers, you're not alone, and we, the medical community, are here to help you. Your church family is here to pray with you. So don't suffer in silence. There are things that can be done if you just acknowledge this. As I always say, your best defense against the ill effects of COVID are to not get COVID. And your best defense in not getting COVID is getting the COVID-19 vaccine. Oh, and by the way, there's news that's brewing underneath that we'll have a new round of updated vaccines around the fall. Don't have all the details yet, but I suspect it's going to account for some of the modifications that the virus has made over the time that it's been with us. Family, we're in a phase where we are now living with COVID-19, but I want you to keep yourself protected so that you don't have to live with the fallout of having had COVID-19. All right, family, this has been Doc with another medical moment. I'll see you next week.
Hey family, Elder Louise Dobbs here. I'm your news reporter and commentator for Put a Light on It. This week, we are spotlighting current events. We begin with January 6th committee hearings. There is crucial evidence that the President of the United States and his Chief of Staff were knee-deep in the planning and execution of the January 6th insurrection, per testimony to the committee last week. Cassidy Hutchinson, A former aide to Donald Trump's White House Chief of Staff, Mark Meadows, gave extraordinary testimony before the House Select Committee on Tuesday that she was scared when she learned about plans for Trump to go to the U.S. Capitol on January the 6th, 2021, to press his assertion that he had not lost the 2020 election. Now, the record shows that Trump wanted it so badly that he ordered the protesters to be admitted into the rally with guns and weapons, despite metal detectors, because, as he said, they weren't there to hurt him. The testimony provided the first eyewitness account that the Trump White House had indeed planned for the then president to personally go to the U.S. Capitol in his bid to block the certification of the Electoral College vote, showing he had lost. Now, Trump has denied all wrongdoing regarding January 6th and all its investigations. In other news, the highest court of the land, the Supreme Court, in a 5-4 decision, overturned Roe v. Wade, the landmark ruling that established the constitutional right to abortion in the United States in 1973. In an interview with CNN, our Vice President Kamala Harris had this to say.
The highest ranking woman ever elected in U.S. history. What was going through your mind at that moment?
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it because they actually did it. And here's what they did. The court actually took a constitutional right that has been recognized for half a century and took it from the women of America. That's shocking.
The conservative majority U.S. Supreme Court has chipped away the wall separating church and state in a series of new rulings, eroding American legal traditions intended to prevent government officials from promoting any particular faith. This court is behind the scenes, steady, pushing us backwards, moving the country back into a dark age. For example, justices reinstate Louisiana voting map that violates the Federal Voting Rights Act. This will affect the upcoming 2022 elections. This court has shown political bias. All the more reasons for us to show up and vote. Our Bishop, Overseer Chandler, shared with us some remarkable words of wisdom in his message last Sunday. Those words of wisdom are worth hearing again. Listen.
The outrage of what the Supreme Court has done and what Clarence Thomas is pushing to do. For the first time in our lifetime, they're making decisions not based upon the structure, the letter of the law, not even the will of the majority of the American people, but on ideology. Though 2020 goes down in American history as the largest number of people in our country voting at one time, here's what you got to be concerned about. 80 million people who are either registered or can register to vote did not vote. So if the Senate is 50-50 and may shift to Republican favor, can't get angry if we don't vote. The good thing about what's happening in this country, and I'm done, it's giving a younger generation an eye-opener. That rights you enjoy, you're going to have to fight for again like your grandparents did. I'm afraid the day is coming we're going to be standing on the bridges fighting for rights. Let's focus on what we must do.
Now we should heed the words of the wise. This has been another segment of Put a Light on It. Let's stay focused and walk in the light.
Last week we were in the Gospel of St. Luke chapter 15, and we looked at the story of a young boy who in the Bible is just referred to as a prodigal son. How he told his father to give him his stuff, and what happened to him after he got his inheritance. In Luke chapter 15, we ended with the boy coming back home, and his father received him and celebrated him, because though he went away in anger, he was received back in love. And if you remember, the title of the message, those that were here, was When a Father Forgives. So I'll ask you to stand one more time if you have Bible in hand, and let's go back to the 15th chapter of the Gospel of Luke. The 15th chapter of the Gospel of Luke. While you're turning there, I want to give honor where honor is due to the queen of this house, Pastor Kelly Chandler, and thank God for her, who she is, not only to me, but to the kingdom, and to all of our men and women of the gospel, those of you who have taken hold of the plow and decided not to look back, because to whom much is given, much is required. I want to pick up at verse 25. We ended at verse 24. Let's pick up at verse 25 and see where the rest of this story is going. Now his elder son, the father's elder son, was in the field, and as he came and drew nigh to the house, he heard music and dancing. So the older son calls out to one of his servants, and he asked what these things meant. Verse 27, and he said to him, the servant said to him, your brother is come, and your father hath killed the fatted calf, because he hath received him safe and sound. But the brother was angry. He would not even go in the house. So when his father saw that, he came out and he treated him and answered. The boy says to his father, you mean to tell me all these many years that I served you? I never transgressed at any time your commandment, and yet you never gave me a kid that I might make merry with my friends. But as soon as this boy, my younger brother, your son, comes back, which devoured the living with harlots, you kill for him the fatted calf. The daddy then says to that oldest boy's son, you are ever with me, and all that I have is thine. It was meet that we should make merry, or it was of necessity that we should make merry and be glad, for your brother was dead, but is alive again. He was lost, and now he is found. Let me deposit for a very brief few minutes these words. It's not what they did, it's what you do. As I said to you, and I want to make sure that those that were not with us at least have some understanding of what we did last week. Very succinctly and soundly, we analyzed the steps or the missteps of the prodigal son. How he, remember this, demanded his inheritance from his father. And then he very disgracefully and distastefully dishonored the house by wasting everything he'd been given. How did he do this? Well, he aligned himself, the Bible said, with citizens of the country whose only apparent desire was to live riotously and unscrupulously amongst their fellow countrymen. Let me pause right here, since I have a wonderful representation of Generation X and Z. Let me explain to you why your parents are so adamant about knowing the company you keep. There's something even in the law books that will connect you to a crime, whether you committed it or not, called guilty by association. And sometimes the pits that your parents either fell in or almost got trapped in in their formidable years are the ones they're trying to prevent you from finding yourself in now. And so that's why they may insist on knowing the password on your phone. Insist that you don't lock no doors in my house. Insist that whatever boy, young girl you think you're going to see, he got to come to the house for mom and daddy to check him out first. Want to know what apps are you browsing on your electronic device? Because they understand that in your formidable years, you are subject to being, as those in the 60s would describe it, bamboozled, subject to being hoodwinked, subject to being run amok. In other words, sometimes those who you hang with will leave you to hang out there by yourself. So the young boy of age to make his own decision discovered that legality or being of legal age does not automatically come with age of wisdom. So however much his daddy gave him, very quickly he went out there and blew it all. He could not, or he would not see the errors of his ways. While the money was flowing and the sinfulness growing, he felt like he was living large. But it wasn't until the well dried up, wasn't until the thrill was gone. So, listen, they may not tell you, young people, but some of your parents, uncles and aunties, even grandparents today, still trying to pay off them credit cards that they got so easy. And while every time they showed the card, the sign on the screen kept saying approved, they just kept pulling out the card. But then they discovered that when you don't properly manage your outflow, and then something happened to your inflow, you're now left not simply with the bill, but then you are placed under the thumb and the burden of somebody who is altering your future and don't even know you by personal connection. Credit scores drop so low you can't even get approval for a pack of bubble gum. Huh? Debt so high you can hardly do things like take a simple, much needed vacation. So you convinced the house we're doing a staycation this year. That's because you, like the prodigal son, and don't feel bad because a lot of us been in that place, mismanaged your wealth. He realized, since I messed up so bad, I probably cannot be received as the son of my father. He said, but daddy's doing well. Daddy not only living large, daddy got servants or slaves. So the boy said, maybe I can go home and daddy will just let me be one of his slaves. Are y'all right? Are y'all with me? He knew that what he had done was so egregious, was so aggressive, that maybe he could just be one in the number. Anybody know that feeling when you've done something that so offended God that you felt like I don't even deserve the blessings that you have given me? You know, not everybody has to go to the pastor or the priest for the priest or pastor to clarify what you've done. You know when you're wrong yourself. Anybody ever knew better but didn't do better? I asked this question last week. Ever knew better, didn't do better? And nothing is more painful when a believer knows they've offended God. Because you realize the same God I just offended is the same God I'm going to need. Do I have a witness in here? Some people stay out of church not because of what church folk did to them, but they got enough sense to know what they've done to God. And they feel like I ain't even worthy to sit up in there. I want you to understand this is where the boy's head was. But today my assignment is not to keep going over what the baby boy did, but rather I want you to look closely at the oldest brothers. Here's a word I want you to make sure you get. Write it down, text it to yourself. The oldest brother is not so much concerned. Our concern is not so much about the oldest brother's issue with the younger boy's celebration. But let's focus in on the oldest brothers. Here's the word, indignation. Indignation. Indignation is described as anger or annoyance by what is perceived as unfair treatment. I have indignation when I am angry or annoyed at what I perceive as unfair treatment. I want you to understand this point is very important, and it's brought out in the first verse I read, verse 25, because the older brother never actually sees the party. He hears the celebration. Woo! Hearing is one of our 5 senses that sometimes have got us into trouble. Trouble one of 3 ways. Either you heard something that you knew was problematic, or you thought you heard something, drew a conclusion that is problematic, or you misheard what you thought was problematic, and that could even lean to the area where you hear what you want to hear. You ever told somebody something and they swear 5 minutes later that ain't what you said? And what you explained to them? No, that's what I said. You didn't hear. Because you only heard what you wanted. Come on, somebody. Huh? You remember when you were that teenager trying to go out and mama ran down a list of things you got to do before you can go out? And all you heard was she said, I can go. You ain't heard her say nothing about clean your room and empty the trash and put them dishes away. All you heard was mama said, I can go, because that's all you wanted to know was either yes or no. But like mama, God has some conditions before you receive his provisions. Huh? That's a good tagline. I got to put that on my shirt somewhere and make some money off that. God got some conditions before he just start handing out provisions. So the oldest son here, dig wide, his first problem is he heard celebration. Didn't actually see it. Because to him, this is just another ordinary day. It's another day of ordinary. It's another ordinary day of sacrifice and service to the wishes and the requirements of his father. The Bible says on this ordinary day, I don't know what day of the week it is, but it's just an ordinary day, the boy's out here working in the field. And in his mind, his younger brother's still out there in the streets doing what he thought he was big enough and grown enough to do. That's why you pride yourself in telling folk, don't bring me no mess. I don't even want to know it. You ever have somebody come up to you and try to run some gossip on you about somebody else, and you got to stop them quick, don't you? Say, No, don't even finish that sentence, because I don't want my name nowhere in it. You got to get it off your chest. Get it off somebody else, baby. I got too much on my plate. The oldest boy was just doing what he doing. Out in the field, working. But he heard something. What's he doing? He's out in the field tending to the crops. What's he doing? He's in the field caring for livestock. What's he doing? He's out there battling the draining power of a hot sun. What's he doing? He's out there slogging through the dirt and the mud, just ensuring that his father's investment would bring a bountiful reward. I want to celebrate those of you who are not only doing the right thing for yourself, but you're trying to do the right thing for somebody else. You love the Lord so much that you don't even worry if the person you helping don't say thank you, because you get your rewards from God. You're at a place in your life, you don't care what folks say or don't say to you or about you, because you're right. I'm focused, God. I'm just trying to do your work. You don't worry no more if people say you're pastor's flunky, or you the boss's pet, or you are your mama's favorite. You don't even let that stuff bother you. When you go into your mama's house, it ain't about trying to get favor with mama. You are thanking God that he had a mother to pray for you while you were in the street acting crazy. And so you promise God for the rest of your days, I'm going to do right by mama, do right by daddy. I'm going to do right by God, because when I was in sin, he could have canceled my card and I'd have been busting hell wide open. But somebody in this room says, the reason I'm trying to live right is because I still, Mama T, oh God. I owe God. I owe God. I read the papers. Tommy, I see brothers still in jail for some stuff I did, just didn't get caught. Huh? I see the news about foolishness in somebody's house that could have been in my house, but the Lord decided to put mercy in front of judgment. I hear about the diseases, the desperation that people are living in, and wonder why it wasn't me. There were a lot of people who dealt COVID guilt because they caught it just like that person caught it. But that person left here, and they're still here to tell the story. And you ever wonder, God, why did you love me that much? What did I do to deserve you keeping me? One of the first deaths, I'm going to share this with you, one of the first deaths we experienced in COVID was a dear friend of ours, preached here several times, Pastor Gilbert. Incredible man. I'm talking about one of the sweetest men you could ever meet. And we get a phone call the day, Sister Miller, he's on the way to the hospital. He says, Chan, pray for me, man. Something ain't right in my body. Something ain't right in my body. I'm going to get it checked out. And that's the last word I heard. The next time I heard from the Gilbert household, his wife calling my phone at 4 o'clock in the morning screaming, Chan, he gone. Now, why this shook me so much is because just 4 months before that, my wife and my granddaughter sitting at the table getting ready to eat, and my wife passes out at the table. My granddaughter runs in the sunroom and starts praying. I'm calling 911. The paramedics are taking her out of the house. She spends the next several days in the hospital. Doctors say it looked like flu, but we don't know if it is flu. What they didn't realize yet is they had not in this country classified COVID yet. So my wife, who's, oh God, who could have been taken, like my friend was taken, God kept her. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm praising God, still digging in, because of what he's done. I don't care what nobody think or classify or say about me. The older brother was just out there, Lonnie, doing what he was supposed to be doing. But he heard something. He heard something. So he asked the servant, hey, what's going on? Jonathan, the servant, says, your baby brother back. He ain't just back. Daddy has stopped everything. Watch, it's going to bless you real good. Stopped everything. Stopped everybody from whatever they're doing to celebrate your brother. But come on, cameraman. Stop everything and everybody to celebrate your brother. Y'all gonna grab it in a minute. Stop everything and everybody to celebrate your brother. But apparently, he didn't stop you. Because you seem to be the only one who didn't get the invitation to the party. Y'all missed it. I saw that. How do I know that to be true? Because the big brother's still in the field working. Why wasn't he even invited to the party? Why daddy got me out here still in the field working? So the Bible describes the brother's attitude. Come on, look at it. The Bible says very clearly in verse 28, would y'all look at it? The Bible says that the older brother was angry. Angry. I found some more words for what the brother was feeling. Hot, mad, tore up, smoking, enraged, furious, irate, livid, indignant, infuriated, affronted, and just plain antagonized. So much so, Deacon Lee, so much so, when the servant tells the older brother, they're over there having a party for your trifling younger brother you didn't get an invitation to, obviously. The brother's so mad, he won't even go in the house. Can I just ask a question right here? You ever been so mad? I just want to see if y'all real. You ever been so mad that God blessed somebody that you knew? I ain't talking about you heard, you knew. I ain't talking about somebody gave you rumor, you knew. They did not, in your eyes, deserve. Look at all y'all spiritual folk in here. Y'all got me just rolling up here. Because you got me thinking, no, Pastor, I don't think like that. Yes, we do. How in the world he got that job? That joker so low down. How she get that man? She's so trifling. How they get that blessing? I know they crooked. How in the world did they get away with that? Why them folk in here, Brother Pounds, getting the blessing, and all they've been doing is driving the Father crazy? I wish I had a witness in here. It's one thing. I might be all right, Daddy, if you let him come back home. Okay, might be all right, Daddy, if you don't change his name. I might be all right, Daddy, if you make him come out here in the field and work like I'm working. But you mean to tell me that you have stopped home production? You have put it in to servanthood. You have broken out, given him stuff, killing the fatted calf. You done turned up the blessing like never before for this low down, sorry, non-working, trifling, disobedient, disrespectful, disalarming, pathetic brother of mine. I wish I had somebody. Brother that I had to change his dirty diapers. Brother that I had to potty train. Brother that I had to fight for. Brother that I had went out of my way for. Who took what was not his yet. Treated you like a dog. Put our family name in the street. Lived out there like he was king of the hill. And he comes back home. I'm just trying to tell you what I see in the text. And you treat him like a wonderful son. I've been the wonderful son. I've been the one trying to live right. I've been the one doing what you told me to do. I've been the one paying my tithes. I've been the one coming to Sunday school. I've I've been the one doing the best I could, and you let this hellraiser receive a blessing. It gets better, y'all. I'm almost through. I don't even need my notes. It gets better because the son says this: all this time I was here, you ain't never threw me no party. All this time I was here, you ain't never killed no fatty calf for me. All this time I was here, and you walked past me like I was nothing but one step above a servant. Daddy, how you gonna do me like that? Can I just pause and say, I know I've been at this same place. I'm guilty, and I bet I ain't the only one in here who's ever said, God, I know I don't run nothing in heaven, but can you explain something to me? Why this one over here got a bigger church? Why this one over here got everybody thinking that they are the next thing to God? Why this one over here who done what I've done and worse, you just seem to bless them? Am I talking to body in here? Listen, I know I ain't by myself. Help me, Bible. David said, Lord, I almost fainted when I saw how you kept the wickedness, the wicked still walking in their blessing. I wish I had a witness in here. Moses missed his miracle timing because he got sick and tired of God letting these trifling folk get another chance. I'm up here on the mountain trying to get your instruction. These hoes are down here, and I'm gonna call them hoes because that's what the Bible described them as. They down here sleeping with each other, worshiping idol gods, acting like fools, and you tell me to keep leading them. What should have taken 11 days has taken us 40 years, and it ain't because of me, it's because of them. What of them? Moses called them in Exodus 14 stiff-necked generation. And the one time, I wish I had a church, the one time that Moses struck the rock, instead of speaking to the rock, God would not let him go into the promised land. Is there anybody in the room that's ever felt like, Lord, you just ain't treating me right? I'm the middle child, and they're doing the other ones better. I'm the oldest child, and they're doing the younger ones better. I'm the younger child, and mama them doing the older child better. Is there anybody in the room that's ever felt like, God, you're not leading, you're not dealing out a fair hand? But can I tell you, as I go to my seat, what the father told the boy? God, he said, wait a minute, have you forgotten that while you were here, I always supplied your needs? You don't know what a day of hunger feels like. You don't know what a day of loneliness feels like. You don't know what it is to be broke, busted, and disgusted. Why? Because Daddy has always taken care of you. As I close here, I need to know if there's somebody else in the room that's ever felt like you're not receiving what you've been giving out. But here comes some good news. Here comes some good news, family. Here comes some good news. My Bible says the Lord knows what you stand in need of even before you ask him. And I want to ask a question. When has the Lord ever let you down? Y'all don't hear me. There were times I didn't get what I wanted, but then I come to find out God said you just weren't ready for what you thought you were ready for. There were other times, Deacon Jeff, I didn't get what I prayed for, but then I discovered I was praying for something minor, and the Lord had prepared something major. Do you hear what I'm saying? We gotta learn, stop looking at what other folks are doing and start looking at what the Lord has already done. Do I have a witness in here? Can I say it like I heard the songwriter say? He looked beyond all of my faults and he saw my needs. Do I have one more witness in here? That's all right. I feel happy by myself. It's all right, because I know what I deserve and what he's still done for me anyway. I deserve to lose my home. I deserve to lose my family. I deserve to lose my mind. I deserve to lose my money. But can I tell you about a forgiving God who reminded me I never left you. I never have forsaken you. Lean over and just tell your neighbor, God is still taking care of me. And every time that I feel like I miss my miracle, he reminds me I never let you lay down and not wake up to see a new day. Every time my belly was hungry, he said, I always made a way to feed you. So I've decided I don't care if other people get celebrated, even though they've been trifling. God has still been looking out for me. He makes a way out of no way. Turns my midnight into day. Oh, taste and see that the Lord is still good. I want to know, are there anybody in here didn't get your college degree, but the Lord still blessed you with a good paying, good health insurance, good job? Anyway, is there anybody in the room that said, though I didn't do everything right, he still keep on making a way? Oh, lift your hands and tell the Lord, I'm thankful you didn't give up on me. I'm thankful you didn't walk out on me. I'm thankful you didn't throw me away. I should have been dead, sleeping in my grave, but you kept old death angel away. So now, every time I get a chance to lift my hand, every time I get a chance to wave my hand, I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise shall continually be in my mouth. Oh, somebody help me to glorify the name of the Lord. His name is El Shaddai. His name is Roha. His name is Nitkanu. His name is Shammah. He is the lily of the valley. He is the bright and morning star. He is the joy of my salvation. He is the Prince of Peace. Oh, the Lord shall be magnified. The Lord shall be glorified. The Lord shall be worshipped. Is there anybody that will give God a real praise? One more. One